really appreciate this. So tell me what you think in your mind. What does a fair and equal America look like for Black Americans?
For me, a fair and equal America for Black Americans, I mean, it involves a lot of change. Um, but I do think it's like not anything like overwhelming. Like to start with as far as the employment and like, equal opportunities, I'm not gonna go so much into that. But I mean, if you look at like major corporations and like see the CEOs and executive boards, you don't find a lot of Black Americans with those opportunities or on that level of a company. But I more so wanted to talk about the just like the fundamental necessities that every American should be able to have, especially as far as public service goes. Like me personally, I'm from Flint, Michigan. So, you know what's going on up there with the water crisis and everything. And, the media will put out there, some people think it's over, and in reality, it's not even close to being over. And that affects a whole bunch of issues, even especially with children. You're finding that they're, they're still testing for lead. There's still lead in the water. They've changed a lot of the pipes, but a lot of the pipes in certain parts of town have not been changed. So, I mean, I think everyone has the right to have clean water to drink, but Flint doesn't have that, and they still have to pay for their water as well. So, how would you feel if you have to pay for the dirty water, you have to pay for the filter, you have to pay for the testing, and you have to run your water for however long to make it look clear because you still might see a brown tint to it. Of course, your water bill is going to go up a bit more. You can look at hospitals as well. Why do Blacks on average have to have a longer wait time in the emergency departments? Why do Black women um, have a higher loss of pregnancy, more pregnancy issues and loss of their babies? These are just like these are facts that are out there. It's not anything hidden. It's very easy to access that information. Um, but even more basic than that, just walking around as a Black American, I think it starts with just gaining the trust back of the Black community and just being able to trust one another as Black and whites or whatever race you are. I shouldn't have to worry about going to a white area of town and someone looking at me and instantly judging me, based on however they may feel or may think about a Black person. Um, and then of course there's the whole police brutality thing. Um, Black people pay taxes too. We pay for them to protect and serve us as well. But a lot of times we don't get treated with that respect. And that shouldn't be anything that's going on. And I think the problem with it is when police do wrong, they're not properly punished for it for their wrong actions. Which I think if there was a level of punishment, well, we're supposed to be able to trust the police. They're supposed to be the good guys. But when they break that trust repeatedly over and over and over, then of course we're going to be like on edge every time we see them or we don't know what to expect, because they've broken that trust from a long time ago. So that's something that's very hard to get back. So you need to find good police officers to kind of counteract that and punish the bad ones to a point where no one wants to go that route as a police officer and kind of abuse that power that they do have. And then I think the most important thing for change is education. Um, Especially it starts with the kids. Like me growing up in Flint, Flint wasn't a very, easy place to grow up in. Didn't have a lot of money in the city itself. And I went to a couple different schools, and I noticed the difference in textbooks or information that I was getting. These are just basic things that kind of get overlooked. If I'm going to a school with, outdated books and I'm getting outdated information, how does that even give me a chance, in the future, going forward? A lot of people will say, work hard and you can be whatever you want to be. Well, you have to understand, what the Black community goes through on a daily basis. Um, I think in Flint, Michigan, the average median income is going to be like $26,000 a year. Um, and then you have to also remember the fact that 1 in 3 Black men are going to go to jail or prison. So a lot of these mothers are single mothers trying to raise their kids. Of course, they want them to go to college and everything. But what's the average college tuition? You know what I mean? That's gonna cost you, anywhere between 10 to 30,000, depending on what school you want to send your child to. So it's a lot that goes into play. Me, there was times I had to work, as well as go to school, where a lot of white people or just anyone who like benefits from generational wealth is another thing that the black community does not benefit from. So it's like, I mean, you never had a chance to, you know what I mean? Because this is recent, that, a lot of the freedoms came into play for Black Americans. I think it's just the basic things, nothing drastic, that Black people are looking for, just looking for equal. We're not looking for any advantage or anything, outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, all those are great. I think it kind of goes into the second question as to what can white people do to help. But what I'm hearing from you is first thing is white people have to care. And if they don't care that Flint, Michigan doesn't have clean water, then they're probably not going to care if people in Flint have a good education. And if they don't care if they have clean water and a good education, and the system's already rigged from before, and we've got a whole systematic of policing issues and a prison, a major prison police complex in the country. I mean, how do black people even have a chance?
Yeah, I mean, the odds are stacked. But there are things I think white people can do to contribute, and a lot of white people already do. Honestly. But I think it starts just from having integrity. Doing the right thing when no one else is looking is definitely a big thing, because a lot of white people, they mean well, but they don't think their voice is heard or they can make much of a difference, when that's not the case at all. You don't have to do anything, crazy or change your whole lifestyle. Just be that person, who has good intentions at home and in your own community, with just sharing your beliefs with, your family or your close friends. If you see them doing something wrong, or you hear them say something, maybe they're a little misinformed, you kind of correct them and say, no, well, this is what I understand. Maybe you should understand the same thing. And that will have a trickle effect. You know what I mean? If enough people do that, then you're going to touch some lives, and you're going to make some major changes down the road, just by working in your own community, and sharing your own thoughts and opinions on what's wrong in today's society. So besides that, it's just listening and understanding um, where the Black community is coming from.
And what about, I mean, I appreciate that. And you kind of said, some things that white people can do. Obviously, sharing this video so people can get more educated is one of them. But I think what you're saying is really important, right? Is just listen. Just get educated, listen. If someone's saying something that maybe isn't accurate, provide them some education, and give them, hey, go watch this movie, go watch this show, go listen to this. Talk to black people and really listen, and maybe that'll help change their perspective. Is there anything else that you can think of besides listening and kind of becoming more educated, that white people can do to help in their own community?
Help with the voting system. There's a new story out about Kentucky, I believe Jefferson County, which is the highest populated county with Black people, where there's going to be one voting station for all those people to go vote at. That shouldn't be an issue. LeBron James shouldn't have to come out with a whole voting initiative to get people to be able to vote.
Thank
Like
God he is.
that's ridiculous. That's something, the voting system should be perfected by now. Like,
Well,
voting forever. So, but just exposing, helping us expose stuff, and like sharing, like figure out why stuff is like this, like who's making these decisions to put people in these situations. And those people need to be exposed. And a lot of times white people have more access to those officials or those government elected people. So black people don't have that type of reach sometimes. So we need that help to kind of, help us out a little bit with that.
So for the last question about, well, what does give you hope, and how do you see a brighter future for Black Americans?
Well, I have a lot of hope in the future. Some of the things that give me hope are things I've already been through and witnessed. For one, what's going on now with the young generation, they're out there protesting, standing up for what's right, and I commend them for that a bunch. I've never seen anything like that in my own lifetime. But just growing up in general, I have tons of white friends, and I have friends from all over. Like, I pride myself on that. Um, and they're great people. So they give me hope. The people I've already met, people I grew up with. So there are genuinely good people out there from of every color, and I know that for a fact. So that gives me hope. The fact that we're doing this interview gives me hope. Like, there are people out there who know right from wrong, and you always know what's right or wrong in your heart. So
Perfect. I appreciate it so much. This was awesome.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to support us, subscribe below or visit us at Unyte.Life. Be an ally, and I'll see you soon.